for Flash Flex. He wanted me to talk about and review Moscow Heat, 2004 action film, and yeah, this movie sucks. But basically, in the movie, Michael York is our lead character. His son is played by Adrian Paul from the Highlander series. He gets killed by Richard Tyson, who's our villain in the film. And he's a Russian baddie. He's a psychopath. And yeah, Richard Tyson you've seen before. He was the bad guy in Kindergarten Cop. But here, he has blonde hair. He's a Russian baddie. So Michael York wants to go after him with the help of a police officer played by Alexander Nevsky. And this movie is just awful. And I have notes right here in front of me to help me out, because there's no way that I would remember this movie. So, yeah, like I said, Michael York from Logan's Run back in the day, he's our lead character. And he's pretty much the lead throughout the entire film. And Adrian Paul, I like Adrian Paul. And he's wasted in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Richard Tyson kills him with a grenade launcher in a very laughable scene. And yeah, so if you like Adrian Paul, yeah, he dies in the first 5 minutes. And it's a very cheap action movie. I mean, you can definitely tell, just how cheap this movie is. And the transitions, I don't know what this gets on IMDb. I'm going to guess like a 2.5, or it's got to be somewhere in the 2s or the 3s. But any rating is too high for this movie. Is it the worst action film that I've seen? I mean, I've seen worse. I think Attack Force is worse with Steven Seagal. I think that's worse than this. Is Rollerball worse than this? I don't know. I have to think about that one. So, yeah, Michael York, he's on a mission to find Richard Tyson in the film. And you got some stupid stuff here in the movie. You got very generic, shootouts here. I mean, the action is very generic and cheap. Michael York, again, he recruits the help of a police officer played by Alexander Nevsky, who, from what I understand, they were trying to, at this time, which I don't know much about this guy, but they were trying to build him up as kind of like another Arnold. But what this guy is, Alexander Nevsky is like a great value version of Arnold. But that could be an insult to the great value brand. Because there's still some stuff, great value. If you go to your local Walmart, I mean, there's still some good stuff that is store brand. So Alexander Nevsky, yeah, he's not really the lead here. You would think, like, with this film here, it kind of builds around, you would think, Alexander Nevsky, but it's really Michael York. And I like Michael York, but this is obviously a paycheck here. So, again, you got some stupid stuff. You got a scene where Richard Tyson, he kills a police officer using a car key. And you don't see where he stabs him. Does he stab him in the neck, the ear, the head? It's a very stupid scene. It comes to a point where, Michael York, because he's trying to get information, some people get killed, and they want to escort him out of the country. And basically, again, he gets the help of Alexander Nevsky to find Richard Tyson, before he's escorted out of the country. And from there, Alexander Nevsky goes after our villains here. And Michael York, his character's got some balls, to go after, these Russian types, Richard Tyson, for, and one thing I didn't even mention Adrian Paul is supposed to be the son of Michael York, but in real life they're only what 15 years apart. So I don't buy that. That Michael York is not that much older than Adrian Paul. I'm just saying. But so, and Andrew Divoff. Yeah, Andrew Divoff is in here for a little bit. He was the villain in Toy Soldiers. He was the Wishmaster. And he's in here in a nothing role. He's kind of like a superior character. Meaning that he kind of works for the Russian embassy. And he wants, Michael York to, be escorted out of the country. And, long story short, you skip to the third act of the film. Michael York has a sword fight with Richard Tyson and kills him. And I'm like, you go through all of this movie where, Michael York, like, I can't, it's so weird that, in the beginning, you have Adrian Paul in the movie, which, to be honest with you, because he was in the Highlander series, why not have Adrian Paul be the one to avenge his father? Where Michael York is killed, and Adrian Paul is out for revenge. And if you want to have Alexander Nevsky in there for a little bit, fine, whatever, but I'd rather get behind Adrian Paul than Michael York, because at the very end, Michael York has a sword fight with Richard Tyson. It's a very stupid fight. But at the same time, you can't really buy Michael York, taking on this bad guy with a sword. And he kills him in quick fashion. Michael York, kills Richard Tyson in quick fashion. So why did you even need Alexander Nevsky? If Michael York can take care of himself, why did you need Alexander Nevsky? I don't know. That's just weird to me. And you could tell there's some like stunt doubles in there, from like far shots. And I'm looking at my notes. That's why I'm looking over here. And then at the very end, they even mention about the Alexander Nevsky character going to California. And he's like, he asked Michael York, do you live by Arnold by any chance? So they mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie. And he's like, yeah, when you come to California, you can meet him and work out with them. Yeah, right. Like, that's going to happen. But, and I'm not going to really go in depth on this movie. It's just, Moscow Heat, it's a very awful action movie that, it was hard to sit through. There's some recognizable people here in the cast, like Michael York, Adrian Paul, Richard Tyson. Again, he was the bad guy in Kindergarten Cop. And there's some bad dubbing there with that character, trying to be Russian when he's not. And who else? Yeah, Andrew Divoff is in here in a couple of scenes. It's just, again, a very cheap action movie that was awful, and it was hard to sit through. And I know, Flash, you've been waiting for this. You've been waiting for me to talk about this movie, whether in a review form or a commentary. Well, I'm saying now, Moscow Heat can suck my balls. And it's not the worst action film that I've seen, but it could be up there because, you have a little bit of talent in here, but obviously this is for paychecks. It looked like it was shot for $5. Generic action, stupid scenes. Michael York, killing our main villain in a sword fight, which, if he kills him that easy, why did you even need Alexander Nevsky in there? It seems the Michael York character, his character can take care of himself, and that came to, in the third act, the guy can, wield a sword. I'd rather have Adrian Paul, be that character. I'd rather follow Adrian Paul than Michael York, to be honest with you. So, and again, if you like Adrian Paul, he dies in quick fashion. So yeah, Moscow Heat sucks. And thank you to Flash Flex for the request. But yeah, don't watch this movie. And I can understand why it gets like a 3 point whatever on IMDb. But thank you for watching, and have a good day. If you'd like to support the channel, I will leave a link down below to my Patreon. There's a couple of options. You got general support, which that helps out the channel, and that is non-credited. And there's diehard members, and diehard members is for crediting. So if you want to be credited in videos such as movie reviews, movie-related topics, and more, like Kevin here, become a diehard member. But that's it. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.